Okay, good morning. Quite excited about this topic. We get to do something that we haven't done yet in this topic, which is talking about the impact of artificial intelligence and machine learning and robotics, the differences between all of those three, some common misconceptions, and how it affects us and society. I quite like this topic. So we need to make sure that you know how to define artificial intelligence, how that is different or similar to machine learning and robotics. We want to learn how that can be used. One, so that you can pass your paper one, but way more importantly, because it's going to affect us as a society hugely, and you as engineers and inventors and software developers. We need to try and work out the legal and ethical issues associated with these technologies, and we're beginning to see it more and more in medicine. We're seeing it more and more in research. We're seeing it more and more in warfare. And we need to describe how we can keep ourselves safe, how we can keep society safe, and who is legally accountable when things go wrong. Huge, huge questions. So this is our definition then. It's the ability of a digital device, so that's not biological, it's controlled with something that uses binary, to mimic the functions of the human mind, the idea of consciousness, of making decisions so that it can adapt and learn. It's not just decision making, it's more than that. It's not an if statement. It's the ability to adapt to new situations. A lot of us think about AI in terms of robotics and also machine learning, but we'll be looking at those in a moment. So here are some of the things that artificial intelligence is useful for. If I was to turn on speech recognition, I can't remember the keyboard shortcut for it in PowerPoint, but that would be natural language processing. No, it would be speech recognition. But speech recognition can use artificial intelligence, and then natural language processing can also use artificial intelligence. That means understanding the speech. And people have been trying to get computers to understand speech for a very long time. I've got a friend who does some research as a speech therapist. It's a fascinating role in speech therapy to link it up with artificial intelligence for natural language processing for therapy, for making people's lives better. Artificial intelligence can make a massive difference in the field of robotics. You've seen robots, I'm sure, that are dumb machines that just follow instructions. If you combine AI and robotics to have not a dumb machine that follows instructions, but I don't know, runs around and terrorizes people, then that's some people's worst nightmare. But it could also absolutely transform and save society. Possibilities for good and for bad. You might have heard this term, machine learning, but it's the way that you can train computers to not just do the same thing over and over again, but learn from its mistakes. So that's often thought of as a human characteristic or a biological characteristics. We don't just repeat the same algorithm, we learn from our mistakes. So the idea of computers not just needing to be programmed, but they can kind of teach themselves. And you can get now machine learning that looks at billions of lines of code on GitHub. I saw a software developer, I'll try and find the YouTube video for you, who just spoke to his computer and said, build me an animation of some stars that appear on screen and swirl around. Sat back, watched the computer, first of all, understand the language, as in speech recognition, artificial intelligence, and then understand the language, natural language processing, and then using machine learning to look at other people's code, finding examples of swirly stars that spin around, synthesizing a brand new program, running it on screen, and boom, there's some stars swirling around. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But also terrifying. At the moment, some of you are considering jobs in software development. But if an algorithm can say, write me a program that, calculates the average of all of these numbers, and if an algorithm can follow those instructions and do it, they can do it more reliably and more quickly and more efficiently and more effectively than you, which is rather worrying, isn't it? Artificial intelligence is going to threaten jobs. Or is it going to create jobs? Create jobs to investigate the artificial intelligence, to regulate the artificial intelligence? The answer is probably both. So we need to explore all three of these fields. So we've looked at artificial intelligence can be used for natural language processing. That means understanding speech in the way that you speak. Google has come a long way from when it launched. when you first started to use Google in 1995, I was in year 7. Google had just appeared, or maybe it was just after that. I don't know. Maybe it was 1997 that it was launched. I can't remember. But you had to type in keywords. Like if I wanted to search for pictures of a Big Mac, it would be Big Mac pictures. Or if I wanted to find the price of Big Mac, it would be Big Mac McDonald's price. Nowadays, you just type in what is the price of a McDonald's Big Mac. And natural language processing means that Google can understand it. How? Because of artificial intelligence. It's been trained to understand it. Machine learning is learning through training data sets. So the DVLA, when they find pictures of people breaking the speed limit, they don't have people who are paid to look at CCTV pictures and say, you've broken the law. They will take millions of pictures of cars and they'll get people on minimum wage to say, this is a picture of a car and this is a number plate. This is a picture of a car and here's the number plate. No, there's the number plate. No, there's the number plate. And then they'll train the algorithm to spot number plates. And once it's trained, it can get progressively better. And then they train it to recognize each symbol on the number plate and say, this is my number plate, or this is this number plate. Of course, it will get things wrong, but as it makes mistakes, it can learn from mistakes, and it gets better and better and better. And then robotics, autonomously controlled vehicles, can be dumb robotics or can also be paired with both of these. You can have robotics that are completely human controlled or are semi-autonomous, as in they can control themselves a little bit like a self-driving Tesla, or completely autonomous. And that is where it starts to become terrifying. Imagine a drone in warfare. So, I don't know, in Ukraine, a drone that can go and fight the Russians instead of the Ukrainians. That's awesome, isn't it? Apart from, if a terrorist gets hold of that drone and starts sending it to London or to York or to Moscow or to Tel Aviv or to wherever, autonomous weaponry, does it have a conscience? Who controls it? Who limits it? I'm not going to give you answers, but I do want you to think about these questions. Which leads on to moral and ethical issues. I'd love to debate this rather than just saying it, so I'm not going to record that as part of the video. What we are going to do is open up P19 and pause the video here because you can watch it just as well for yourselves at home, but we'll watch it in lesson together. So we just finished watching the video in lesson and we're working through activity 1 and then we'll pause it again when we get to activity 2. So we've been watching the video for activity 2. You'll find all of the answers for the activity 2 in that video. So you're best off doing that by yourselves if you're working from home. So we've been watching the videos and discussing the implications of all of these, and we've seen some artwork for AI-inspired and AI-generated artwork. Please make sure that your Word document is saved and uploaded onto Half Term 10, please.